Somehow I keep getting muted. I don't know what that's about, but we're going to keep going. I'm going to trust that all this, whatever this technical stuff is, that it's going to work itself out. And I have a stutter, so I'm actually going to keep the, I'm going to keep the chat, the video up. Looks fine on my end. Can't tell. All right. Well, I'm not going to worry about it. It's been an interesting night already. So there you go. All right. Good evening, everyone. I am Reverend Sherri James. I'm Senior Minister for Understanding Principles for Better Living Church, and this is our Thursday night Bible study. And I'm so excited. We are in the midst of this incredible read. We're working with Edwene Gaines. Oh, boy. 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity, a simple guide to unlimited abundance. And tonight we're going to be dealing with the second law. So very excited to dive in. I trust that this is going to be a game-changing conversation for all of us, and I look forward to sharing it with you. All right. Let's pull up this PowerPoint. I want to invite you. We are in the process. We're actually rehearsing tonight for Reverend Della's. Okay, why did it do that? Come on. Be my friend. My camera wasn't working before. Let's try this one more time. So Reverend Della made her transition the Sunday before Thanksgiving, and we are celebrating her life on December 30th. We will be streaming the service, and the service is at noon on the 30th. And we would be honored if you are in the Los Angeles area. We would be honored to have you join us. But if you cannot make it, we will have you will have the ability to stream the service, and we'll have more details coming as I get clearer from the vendor how all of that works, and where to tell you to log in and all that. What? All right. So tonight, the question that we are answering is, did you know that goal setting Why am I muted? Have I been muted all this time? Oh, mercy. Hi, Eves. She really lived this principle of abundance, and she taught it, and she stood for it, and so much so that the ideas that were important to her became ideas that more important to me. And so I want to share that with someone else, because the things that she shared with me changed my life permanently for the better. And so I want to pass that same good stuff on to you. And as she would say, it gets gooder and gooder. The Bible Hangout is free, but it does cost to produce it. And so if this is helping you, if you would consider making a gift, and a gift of any size makes a difference. And so you can do that right at revsherri.com. And I thank you in advance for your support. And I thank you everyone who's already given support. Know this, but I am available for spiritual mentoring. I work with people one-on-one to help them become their best selves and to help them maximize their inner potential, so that they can get better outer results. And so if you are especially a spiritual entrepreneur, if you are someone who recognizes that where you spend the bulk of your time must also, which is normally a job for most people, or some type of business enterprise, that where you spend the majority of your time must not also just be what puts money in your pocket, but also nourishes you spiritually, and you want to find a way to better integrate those things, give me a call. Let's see if we are right for one another to work together. I'd be delighted to coach you. This series, so I want to give you a couple of dates. This series, there's a blog, there's a Bible Hangout. I want to remind you that there's no class December 21st and 28th, and class resumes January 4th. And so we're doing parts 1 and 2 before Christmas, and then after Christmas, on the first Thursday after the holiday, we'll pick back up with parts 3 and 4. I also reached out to Reverend Edwina Gaines to ask if she would consider being a part of the conversation. So I will keep you posted on her response to my request. This series is Do Not Think That I Have Come to Abolish the Law. I have come not to abolish, but to fulfill. 5:17. And so if we just take a moment to just relax and just trust the Spirit and the presence of God, and trust all that God has for you and for me. And just know that we are here by divine design, and that God has something wonderful happening for us right now. Surrender to that process. We allow it to happen, and we just give thanks and praise that it is so. Nature of Jesus. We affirm that it is so, and so it is. So goal setting as a spiritual experience. I don't know about you, and I'm going to check my volume, because last time my volume got muted. Okay, I'm not muted. I don't know about you, but I never thought of goal setting as a spiritual anything. I'm just gonna put a little admission out there. Have a record with goal setting. There was a time when I would just make a bunch of goals, but then I was, I hit some of them, but not all of them. And I was like, well, maybe there's a science to goal setting. And if I'm being honest, I really approach goal setting from the perspective of sets goals, Oprah sets goals, and Richard Branson sets goals. Therefore, I set goals. That was really my approach. I didn't, anyone who was a high achiever that I admired, whose work I thought was amazing, a goal setter. If you listen to anything from Brian Tracy or Jim Rohn or whomever, they talk about goal setting. And so I am calling into my experience the kind of success that they have talked about. And so I set goals. I mean, that was really it. It wasn't any deeper than that. For me, but I never thought of it as a spiritual thing. And I've seen Reverend Edwina's talk. So I thought I knew the material that was in her book. I've seen some of the stories in here. I've heard her tell these stories live. So I felt like I had the information that she had to share. Right. And so, you can imagine my surprise when I opened the book and I get to part 2 and it says the second law, goal setting. I'm like, what? Okay. So the idea that goal setting is a spiritual law or a spiritual experience or a spiritual process,
And I even have specific spiritual goals, like in terms of my growth, like things that I want to do, places I want to go. And I started the year and I had very specific goals of how I wanted to grow spiritually, and then the things that I was going to do in order to have that type of growth. And I mean, all of that. But even then, I still didn't think of goal setting as something, as a spiritual experience. It was what high achievers do. And I see myself as a high achiever. So therefore, I set goals. And so in tonight's conversation, we're going to uncover gains the spiritual art of goal setting. So that's our conversation for tonight. So I want to give you a couple of things. I want you to really get why you need goals. And I think that this was really powerful for me. And I hope that I convey half of what landed with me when I read her words. But specifically, goals spiritually for your good. So this is what she says in the book on page 69. When you start tithing, the windows open and a shower of good starts flowing into your life. Now you need something to catch the good with, or it will be lost. Setting concrete and practical goals creates a vessel with which you can catch it. It's almost like the story of the widow with the oil, where your tithe is the oil, and the vessels that the vessels. Okay, I have a 4-year-old knocking on the door. Hang on. There's no juice in here. To be quiet, okay? You can come sit with me, but there's to be quiet. So the goals do is that they act almost as a vessel to catch the good. They are the way that you bring invisible, intangible good into your world. Without goals, you don't have a way for them to come forward. It's just formless good. So your goals literally open the door for all of that good. Really powerful. And she said one of the main reasons that people don't reach for their goals is they believe that there is something about themselves that will prevent them from getting whatever it is they really want in their deepest heart of hearts. If you don't believe yourself to be a good cook, chances are you're never going to attempt or even look up a complicated recipe for a dish you might enjoy. But what if you decided, I want to be a better cook? Not that I'm a great cook, but I just want to be a better cook. You still might not look up that complicated recipe, but you may be willing to put yourself in a cooking class that exposes you to the basics of cooking good meals for your family. Goal setting points you in the direction of your good. Without goals, you remain pointed away from that good that could be yours. So that's what's so powerful about this. Now, here's the other thing. You need to be definite with the infinite. Spiritual people who don't want to be definite about their wants. She says, dare to be clear with God so that you receive what you want and not what you don't want. There is such a what's the word where you, I want God, you choose for me. You're God at expression. You choose. Now, if you don't know what to choose, you can say, God, I'm asking for some clarity on what is right for me. But you have to name it. There's no other way. You can't plant and then say, just come up whatever type of seed you want to be. It's going to deliver based on the type of seed that's planted in the ground. That the universe works on specificity. To start effective goal setting, saying to God what it is that you want, then you've got to first get it clear in your own mind. After all, if you don't even know what you want, how can you ask God to send it to you? Really powerful. It's like, just take responsibility for your choices. Say what you want, and then honor what you truly want. So many times we downplay what we want, or I don't want anything, or we judge ourselves for what we want. And she says, don't worry about whether you should want something. If you want it, want it. You want it. It's enough to say that you just want it. That's it. And so your goals and desires are between you and God alone. So just to honor what you want and stop telling everybody about it. And here's the thing: I've been in this mode. I'm really developing myself as a coach for spiritual entrepreneurs, and so I watch a lot of interviews with multi-million-dollar earners, and inevitably, I hear them say, "I started my business for selfish reasons, but as I kept going and started making money, it was no longer about the money; it became about helping people and doing for others." No, Alita says there's a lot of static. Hang on for a second, guys. Let me check what's going on my end. I don't think anything is loose. What about now? It's still the same? I have a lot of background noise. I got the door open. I'm going to close the door and see if that helps. Oh, it's not background. Okay. Oh, I don't know. Are you? Oh, wow. Ray is saying the background is very garbled. Let me switch the sound. Oh, you know what? It's pulling from the microphone. No. What is happening tonight? Okay. All right. But you guys won't be able to hear me if I do that. Okay. Testing. I think we still got the same issue. Okay. Well, let's unplug this. This is no good. Get that out of the way. Okay. Okay. How are we doing? Okay. How does it sound now? Ray, is the sound still the same? It's only a little better. Okay. Let me I'm just gonna unplug this camera and
actually it's starting to sound better now.
Okay. All right. I don't know. All right. I
hold
all the apparatus. Or it is better. Okay. All right. All right. Let me back up because I don't know what got recorded correctly and what didn't get recorded correctly. Anyway, why you need goals. Bottom line, goals prepare you to receive what it is that God has for you, and that without those goals, there's no way for what you want to come out of the invisible into the visible. The second is that you have to be definite with the infinite. You actually have to say what it is that you want. That the universe does not work on vague notions. So you can't say, God, send me some good, because that has no definition, has no texture. So you must be specific and say, I want this. What you truly want. It probably is going to make you uncomfortable, but you really have to be willing to say, I deserve it. Now, Ray, can you hear me?
Unfortunately, honey, over here.
Okay. All right, great. I'm going to mute. Okay. All right, cool. All right, let's keep going. Uh, so honor what you truly want. And you have to be willing to say that I deserve it. And if you want $1 million lifestyle, that's what you want and not what, say, you've been conditioned to think is a better life, but that's genuinely what you want, then want it. And have no caveats about it. Don't apologize for it. We make so many apologies, but goals and desires are between you and God alone. Don't worry about whether or not your desires are selfish. Because when you work with God, the internal changes that you have to make in order for your desires to be realized, that process is going to weed out whatever doesn't belong in your character or in your desire. And I was sharing that I watch a lot of interviews with multi-million-dollar earners as I develop myself as a coach for spiritual entrepreneurs. And inevitably, I hear them say, I started my business for selfish reasons. I was in debt up to my nose. I just needed to make some money. I wanted to take care of my family. And they all inevitably, very rarely do I hear an interview where someone starts out with noble goals. Very rarely. But inevitably, when they keep going, when they press through whatever walls they've got to go through, when they walk through whatever obstacles they've got to go through, and they really get to what is this about, they start making money, then it was no longer about the money. It becomes about helping people and doing for others. And inevitably, I would hear them tell that story about at some point in the journey making that shift. And so sometimes you want something and you want it for selfish reasons. And so you can't even allow yourself to go after it because you're embarrassed about the selfish desire of the nature of what you want. If you're working with God, you'll get right in the doing. Because if you're genuinely working with God, you won't be able to carry the selfish part forward. In whatever way it is in you right now, and trust that God will get you right in the process. The other thing is that you got to get clear on what you don't want and let it go. Your goals, not only do you need to know what you want, but you also have to be willing to give up that which you don't want. For our good, something has to go in order for you. When you buy new furniture, the old furniture has to go. When you plant your garden, the soil has to be prepared by removing whatever was now present. So engage in goal setting, you must also engage in a pruning process. And so you prayerfully need to ask God, what needs to go? What needs to walk out of my life? And a lot of times we hang on to people, places, and things that have long since served their purpose in our lives. And so as we come to the end of 2017, this is a great time to make a list of everyone and everything that cannot travel past December 31st. And realize that if you will go ahead and dare to release what doesn't serve, God can bring you something better. So I want to share with you, and I want you guys to actually do this. I'm going to set a couple of timers while we're doing this. I actually want you guys to do this process, 10 steps, and we'll go through it. So this is the process of goal setting as Edwene lays it out. The first thing is you need to write down all your desires. So you actually need a notebook. I'll show you the book that I use. Hopefully it'll come through clear. This is a journal. It's actually a oh, it's too bad that this does this. It's a passion planner is what it's called, passion planner. But you can write down all of the things that you want in here. And what she recommends is that you get something and you carry it with you all the time. So this is always with me, and you are conditioning yourself to basically write down what you want. And so that you are what you're doing is you're training your mind to understand that this universe and that there is enough good stuff in it, and it's for you. This universe is vast, and there's enough good stuff in it for you. And so what happens is that when you to actually write down what it is that you want, there's an impression that's being made in your subconscious mind. Very powerful way for you to tell yourself and to with the understanding that I can have something. It's like when a kid makes a Christmas list, when they make that Christmas list, they're not thinking about what mommy and daddy. In fact, they're not thinking about mommy and daddy. A lot of times they're thinking Santa. They're their budget, and so they're making a list, and in that they're going through catalogs and they're making up these very elaborate lists of what they want for Christmas. And every time they write something down, it opens up a possibility for something else. And so what starts out as like a little bitty list ends up being like pages long. Like, I want this, I want a bike, I want a scooter, I want some skates, I want one of every transformer, and as you start to like list all that out, it begins to open up those possibilities. And so it's the same thing with us, that when we list out those possibilities for ourselves, then it begins to impress on our hearts. And so I want to just give 60 seconds and have you actually write down what your just what the goals that come to mind. I'm looking for my timer. Here we go, timer. The goals that come to mind. I'm gonna get my notebook because I'm gonna do it with y'all. And so we just got 60 seconds starting now, and I want you to write everything, and do not censor yourself. Do not censor yourself. Write down everything that comes to mind. Whatever comes to mind. Maybe you want to buy a Bali Island tour. I put down hang gliding. Oh, this was one. I forgot I love this. Visit, time is up. Visit all major U.S. theme parks. I love roller coasters. Okay. Stop. All right. Great. Okay. So here's the thing. Carry that with you. Ooh, I love that. Ray says a vacation home in Hawaii. Alita says, I want a millionaire lifestyle, enough to spare and to share. Yes. Ray says, thank you for helping me to reopen my mind to possibilities, goals, dreams that I've forgotten about. Yes. Yes. Where we at? Okay. I don't see anything in the chat. Where y'all at? What do you want? What do you want? And it's to write it down. Put it on your list, right? And just keep a list. Like, don't just, like, this is, so one of the things that I thought, because I use my journal that way, but this is also like my, it's going to fall out. But this is also like my schedule, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, for 2018, I'm going to buy a new journal that's just my, what I call my live list journal. And these are all the things that are part of me just living life. Ray says a rich millionaire lifestyle mindset. Yes, 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 yes. Now, here's the thing. The question you ask yourself once you do it is you write something down and you don't judge it. Is that you don't judge it, no matter how far-fetched or silly or out there it is. If you put it, did it come up in my mind? I put it down on the page, right? Because here's the thing, you're not sharing with anyone. But as you write it down, it just begins to like open all of that up. And so it's great to set a timer. It's like there are like meditation bells that you can set. Great. Alita says she has a small book that fits in her purse. Perfect. Yeah, like they have journals that are like about the size of this book. You can get something like that from Target or from Walmart and just carry it with you. And just every day, just write something in there. Because what you're doing, again, it's like writing that Christmas list. Like every time Jordan's like, every time I ask him what he wants for Christmas, he's got a new thing to add to the list. I'm like, what? You're four. Like what? How? Where are you learning all this stuff? Um, yes. Ray says rich millionaire is a term I learned from Reverend Della. Yes, yes, yes. So make sure you write it down. And again, you're always adding to this list, always adding to this list. Now, once you get a decent sized list, let's say you get about 40 or 50 things on a page, then what you want to do, and it looks like my PowerPoint is not doing what I wanted to do, y'all. So just Jesus be offense here. All right, let's do this. That'll do it. Is there a way to hide this? Oh, I hide this part. It's probably not. Okay, well. So choose your top desires, right? So what she says is that pick like your top 12, whatever those are, and be very specific. So when you are listing your specific goals, you want to make sure that they're your goals and not your daddy's goals for you or your spouse's or your boss's. When your goals are truly your own because they make your heart sing when you think about it. Write your goals down clearly and specifically. So Bali Island tour, right? But it's to actually get as specific as I can about what it is that I plan to be doing in Bali. For example, do not write as a goal that you want to go on vacation. You might say instead, this summer, right? That puts a timeline on it. This summer, I want to fly to Austria and yodeling lessons in the Tyrol. If you cannot be that specific, it may be an indicator that it isn't yet time to set a vacation as a concrete goal. So you want to be very, very specific. So if you find that you cannot be specific, it's probably not one of your top desires. Specific, it's probably not one of your top desires. I want to make sure that makes sense to you guys. If you cannot be specific, it's probably not one of your Andrea says, hey, fine. Joe says, know my why, clearer mind, heal body, more money. Visit California. Yes, come hang out with me. Andrea says, debts all paid and surplus to launch the wellness empire. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Again, you want specific. If you can't be specific, then it's probably not something that you're ready to make a top priority yet. So you always want to be specific. And then she says, once you have a goal in mind, you can start taking steps to get ready right away. So for example, if your goal is to go to this, for example, get your passport, get a language book out of the library and brush up on your French. If your goal is to get married, go buy your wedding dress. Don't wait until the last minute. Start getting ready now. Ask yourself, what action would show I mean business? Then take it. Doing so will send a clear message to your subconscious, and your subconscious will say, wow, this time we better get cracking. Top desires, you're getting specific, and then you're finding an action step that you can take that you're serious about what you say you want. Okay. All right. Number 3, how you must change. Now, this is so important. Oh, my God. This is one of those drop the mic moments, because so many times we want the goal and we don't want to become the person who can have the goal. We want the goal without changing. This is one where I want you to circle it, because everything that you have on your list is something that you have to change to become. If you hear nothing else tonight, I want you to hear this. I cannot tell you how long I walked through life wanting the goal but unwilling to change. Wanting the goal but unwilling to change. In the last company that is similar to the one that I'm working with now, I went into the company. I wanted the income, but I didn't want to change. And I didn't even know I had to change. Let's start there. So, for example, Alita, yep, I wanted a kitchen with frosted glass cabinets. I have the floor plan. Excellent, right? But even then, there's still something that has to change in you, because if you were already the person who could have the new kitchen, you'd have the new kitchen. And this is where most people lose their nerve and abandon the process, because you've got to look at yourself and prayerfully ask, what must I change about myself in order to achieve my goals? And that is not an easy question, because I promise you, it will be something that you don't want to let go of. It will be something that you feel is so much a part of your identity that you can't even imagine needing to change. Yes, Alita says, so I have to ask what that is that I need to change. Yes, that's what the prayer time is about. And I'm telling you, it is. Now, here's the thing. All of your fortune is going to be found in your personal development. So you need to have some type of personal development that you do every day, something that you're reading on a consistent basis, something that you're saying to yourself on a consistent basis, and some way that you're meditating on a consistent basis. When you visualize, you organize your brain for the good that you're visualizing. When you visualize, you organize your brain toward the good that you are visualizing. So you've got to consider how you have to change. And but even just knowing that you have to change, I cannot stress that enough. That, Ray, you said rich millionaire is a term I learned from Reverend Della, and so you want a rich millionaire lifestyle mindset. Does she have something for you, Ray, on this? I'm gonna just turn to it, because I didn't put it in the outline for today, but since you said it, she said, stop talk. I'm gonna just read it verbatim. She said, stop talking about intangibles. Right? Her thing is, say what you want specifically. She said, I'm asked this question a lot. People ask me, shouldn't our goals be non-material things, such as having the peace of God? And I suspect that many people want to put down an intangible because they think that they should want it, which is the wrong reason to make a goal. And because they haven't yet learned to accept their real desires. And what's worse, that thing isn't usually even a goal. For example, people say, I don't really want more possessions. I just want peace of mind. Well, peace of mind is not a goal. Peace of mind is a choice. If you want it, just choose to have it. Or they say, I want to be a more loving person. So just choose to be one. There's nothing particularly hard about that. A lot of people say, Edwin, you're so materialistic. Why do you keep asking for all this stuff? Well, I'm asking because my teacher told me so. What I know of Jesus the Christ, who is my guide and my model, is that he had the power to heal everybody who was on the planet Earth. While he was here, he could have healed every single person had he chosen to. But do you know what he did instead? He healed only those who asked him to, or those for whom someone else asked on his or her behalf. Jesus said, ask and you shall receive. He did not say, make me guess. When people ask me, can I put more love in my life on my goal sheet? I tell them, honey, you've already got all the love you are ever going to get. Sometimes people get depressed when I tell them that, but what they really need is not more love, but to be more aware of all the love they already have. You are a child of God. Hear this. I underlined this and I circled it. It's on page 95. You are a child of God. You already have all the wisdom, intelligence, faith, peace, and love there is. You're not going to get any more of that intangible stuff, so don't even bother putting it down. Why ask for something that you already have? Besides, what if you put down more peace in my life and more peace comes along in a form you don't recognize and you miss it completely? What a waste. But I can guarantee you, if you put down a bright yellow Lamborghini race car and that sucker comes along, you're going to know it. I had one woman who told me she wrote down as a goal at one of my workshops, I want more love in my life. Then when she got home, the neighbor gave her a pregnant dog. This woman got exactly what she asked for, but it was not really what she wanted. She should have instead written, I want a baby, or I want a new lover, or I want to take a vacation with my 5 closest friends. It's all about being specific and accepting your desires. Don't be ashamed of what you want or feel that you shouldn't have the desires that you do. Your desires are holy. You didn't make them up. They were implanted in you by God. I mean, why would people who come from similar backgrounds desire such different things if God didn't implant those desires in them? If you want a solid gold toilet seat, you got a right to. You don't have to justify your desires. You just have to accept them. In fact, For many people, that's the biggest challenge, simply accepting their desires. To be able to say without hesitation, yes, this is what I want. Once I had gotten the hang, okay, anyway, she goes on, she talks about getting the white Cadillac convertible. But Ray says, I believe I feel guilty about wanting material goods. Not anymore. Yeah. Give that up. That ain't about nothing. That ain't about nothing. So, and so more peace of mind, that's not your goal. Because you have all the peace of mind you're ever going to have. If you don't realize that you got the fullness of it right now, you are never going to get it with more things or less things. You're never going to get it with more things or less things. So it won't be the entrance or exit of things in your life that give you more peace of mind. Ray says, I had to work on trusting the true desires in my heart. Yes. Yes. Say what you want. Now, set a deadline. Now, here is where I get off the boat with setting goals. Right? This is where my spotty track record is, because I have set deadlines for goals and they never came. And so it was just, I got to the place where I didn't want to set goals because it was like, well, I don't know when this thing is going to happen. And it just would wear me out. But she says something that I think will help you, because it helped me. She said, choose a date by which you desire to achieve each goal and put down a specific date. Because when you do that, it's a statement of confidence, not just in yourself, but in God. Yeah, Alita says, me too, deadlines get scary. Yes, I'm telling you why the deadlines are scary, Alita. And this was again, waking up to myself. If you set a date that makes sense to you and the goal does not show up by that point, you must do another self-appraisal, telling God, you probably told me what I needed to change, but I wasn't listening closely enough. Please tell me again, I am paying better attention this time. When you set a goal, it isn't that you don't have faith, Alita. When you, because that's another one, you have all the faith you're ever going to have. You just have to use what you got. When you set a goal and it does not appear at the date that you have outlined, it is because you have not changed to become the person that you needed to be in order to have that goal. So you go back to God. I love her sentence because it's so plain spoken. You probably told me, God, what I need to change, but I wasn't listening closely enough. Please tell me again, I am paying better attention this time. So I had a goal to earn my car in my new business, to earn my car by the end of, well, I was trying to get it by the end of November, and now by the end of December, right? And so when I set the deadline, the question is, what do I need to change in order for this goal to be a reality? Not just give me the goal, but how do I need to shift, God? What needs to go? What needs to leave my life in order for this dream to be a reality? Is that landing? Is that making sense when we talk about, when they talk about SMART goals, right? The one thing in the SMART goal process is that they want you to be realistic, which is ridiculous. Forget that. The road to mediocrity is paved with being realistic. But what you do need to do is know how you need to change. So the goal is not SMART unless you're clear on the fact that you've got to become somebody to have that goal. That's the part you got to get. There is someone that you have to become in order to have the goal. Otherwise, it couldn't be a goal for you. And so it's when you set the goal, it's beginning to think, okay, God, I know that I'm going to need to change something. I'm coming to you prayerfully. Guide me through this process of change. I'm willing to let go of whatever I need to let go of. And then I'm setting a deadline date of when I expect this to happen. So that's powerful. I hope you heard that. I hope you heard that. I really hope you heard that. I really hope you grasp that if you set the date and the goal didn't show up, it didn't show up, not because God doesn't want you to have the goal, but because you didn't change to become the person who can have that goal. And when you set the goal, God is already whispering in your heart who you need to be. George says, I've always had trouble with deadlines, but I see now that I need to focus on becoming the part. Yes. And wasn't that powerful? That she helped me so much with this, right? Because I'm telling you, my track record with goals is spotty like a, it is not my strong suit. Oh, I love that. Is that the name of a book? Alita, that's great. There's an enemy called average. Yes. Um, that freed me because I'm telling you that was my issue around goal setting. I could set the goals, but they might not be hit for years, or sometimes they be hit inside of a couple of months, and sometimes inside of a couple of days, and I couldn't figure out what the heck was happening. Like, why are some things working and other things not working? And I just it made me reluctant to set goals. And I promise you, the only reason I set goals up until I read this chapter, the only reason I set goals is because Oprah Winfrey sets goals, and I'm not even kidding. And people that I admire, and Beyonce sets goals, and Brenda Burchard sets goals, and Tony Robbins sets goals. That's the only reason I set goals. I don't, because I know that I need to do it, but that's it. And I didn't have any other any other pressing reason other than that. Now, review your list daily. You got to keep these goals in front of your face. Read your list of goals at least 3 times every morning and every night. Reading those goals, what happens is that you start to attract power to them. They become like they take on the power of affirmation. It's a wonderful thing. It keeps them in the forefront of your mind, so you never lose sight of them. Focus on something, you draw power to it. Thoughts held in mind reproduce after their own kind. So when you keep a goal in mind, you are reproducing it and drawing energy to it. There is an affirmation that I wrote, that I've been writing from Think and Grow Rich. And so I don't want to start saying it and get it wrong, but it's in chapter 3, I believe chapter 3, where he gives you the 6 steps to setting a goal, and he tells you to write the statement out, and so you identify the specific amount of money that you want, and then you say what you're willing to give in exchange for it, like what I'm willing to give in exchange for my labor as a blah 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 blah, whatever, right? Or I'm willing to write a book, and right, so you say what the money, the pathway through which the money is going to come to you, and then you write the statement out, and then you read the statement twice daily with feeling. And I tell you, as I have read that statement, and I read it every day, once a day, as I read that statement, and it says, and I'm awaiting a plan, but I'm not waiting to get started, but I am awaiting a plan to follow. So I'm just going to take every action that I can think to take until I get a clear plan, and then I'm going for it. And I promise you, the plan is coming, and I'm in the process of working the plan right now. And so it's just really, really powerful that if you will go ahead and say it and go ahead and read it, it will bring it to you. It will bring it to you. You won't have to guess. You really won't have to guess. You can trust what you focus on increases. What you focus on, you empower. What you focus on, you draw power to. Now, number 6, and this is my favorite because y'all know I've been using the theme music from movies like Superman and Inception and whatever, but you've got to visualize yourself achieving the goal. It's one of my favorite things to do. I do it every day. Achieving the goal. The more regularly you envision yourself having the things you want, the easier they'll come to you. Visualization, and this is something that this was a recording I heard from Reverend Ike, and I thought it was so powerful that when you visualize, you organize your mind. You got to understand that your brain is organized in a certain way, right? The molecules, the neurons, everything that makes up the brain. Clearly not a brain scientist here. Everything that makes up the brain, it's organized toward the things that you have in your life right now, which is why you have the things in your life right now. and why you keep attracting more of the stuff that you have in your life right now. When you visualize, you reorder the brain. Now, Reverend Ike said this, and I would have to go back and look at what the date was when he recorded this, but this was probably something that he said in the 80s. I'm in the process of reading Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And literally, Joe Dispenza, who is citing the latest brain research, talks about how when you visualize, when you mentally rehearse some future good that has not yet occurred, that you literally magnetize your mind and your body to bring that good into your experience. So the visualization, all these steps are powerful, but step 6, I would make this a daily non-negotiable. Visualization helps you accept the good that you want. You start to develop, you say, well, how is it that I can develop a sense of deservedness, right? Because everything in my life is what I feel like I deserve at this point. And the only way for something better or more to come in my life is I've got to feel like I deserve it. Get that? Did you hear that? Tell me, did that land with you guys? Tell me, did that make sense to you guys? That the only way for something to come into your life, period, is for you to feel like you deserve it. Tell me if you heard that. Okay, got it. Okay, got it. Andrea says, you're making good sense, Rev. I admit it took me a minute, but I got it. The only way for something to come into your life is that you have to feel like you deserve it. You do not have millions of dollars because you do not feel like you deserve it. You do not have the marriage that you want because you do not feel like you deserve it. This is landing. You do not have the body that you want because you do not feel like you deserve it. Everything that you have in your life is there because you feel like you deserve it. And I'm harping on this point because I want this to stick. Visualization, what happens in the process of visualization is you develop the deservedness that brings the better into your experience. So just saying, I deserve it. It's like, I was in a session this weekend, and I have to be mindful with to accept the good that is coming my way and learn from it. But I was in a session, and the person that was conducting the session had us saying things like, I deserve it. And there was no feeling. He was like, shout it out, I deserve it. And I'm like, this is the craziest stuff. But here's the thing. Until you can see yourself having it and feel it at your core, there's nothing in you to bring it. So this is why visualization is so important and why I consider it a daily non-negotiable. I've shared with you guys that I use the app 7 weeks because with that app, what happens is that I check off that I do my visualization today. I like the term mental rehearsal, which is what Joe Dispenza uses. And so I like that term. That's what helps you develop the deservedness. So if you can go ahead and see yourself with it, you will naturally say, I deserve it. And I needed to harp on that for just a little bit. So thank you guys for indulging me, because that's why visualization collapses the distance between you and the goals on your list, because the more you see yourself experiencing it, enjoying it, giving thanks for it, living in it, the feeling that you deserve it comes about. I'll tell you, and I'm okay. I got one story. So when I got ready to go to college, I don't know where this came from, but I just felt like I did. I probably would have to take some time to dissect it to really understand it. But there was this woman who came from the University of Pennsylvania, She was in a full-length mink coat and, came to recruit at the school. And I just got in my head that I deserved to go to a school like Penn. And when I got to Philadelphia, I ran out of money probably after the first semester. And people were being sent home for not being able to pay to come, for the next semester or pay for the next year. And I was scrambling like 5 dogs because I felt like I deserved to be there. I deserved to have that kind of education. I deserved to be educated among the elite in the country, the children of the elite in the country. I just felt like I deserved it. And so I never got discouraged. I never felt like, oh, I might be sent home. And here's the thing, I never had the money. The money never came. Every year I had a running balance. In fact, I didn't learn later that they sent people home for having a balance until it was long gone and had graduated. In my mind, I deserved to be there. I would show up at the financial aid office knocking on the door like, hey, y'all, what you got up in there? I spent hours in the library looking for scholarships that I never found. I mean, just because I just believed that I belonged there, period. And looking back, it was me just seeing myself as a student and later a graduate of that university that brought about whatever means needed to come about for them to either overlook or not consider the fact that I had a running multi-$1,000 balance every year. Every year. So visualization is powerful. I cannot say enough good things about it. Number 7, act as if. Well, that kind of goes along with the visualization. Sorry, this is a little bit big here. Act as if you have already achieved your goals. Walk like you belong there. Believe that you receive, whatever it is. Acting with confidence and faith in yourself and your potential sends a powerful message to the universe. Accept your success right now. Don't wait for the results to act as if. Don't be moved by outer results. Do not be moved by outer results. Be moved by an internal conviction. Number 8, practice spiritual secrecy. Don't tell everybody. Every time we speak, we leak, we deposit energy. And sometimes we tell our dreams to the wrong people who couldn't dream with us. Keep your goals private between you and God. Goal setting requires a leap of faith that might be criticized by those that are not familiar with the process. And then they start planting doubt in your mind. Your list of goals is between you and God. You may not even be able to tell your spouse. That doesn't mean that person is not supposed to be your spouse, but you might not even be able to tell your spouse. Andrea says the money porn story is so cool. Yes, it is. Andrea, that is where the story comes from. You may not even be able to tell your spouse the things that you and God are working on. And so you got to learn, Reverend Mary called it spiritual secrecy. Some things you need to keep to yourself. Because you tell the wrong person, and all of a sudden the energy that you had for it just fizzles. They don't have the same excitement. They don't really believe that you can do it. They won't say it, but you can feel it in the energy. So your list of goals is between you and God. Don't tell anybody else. Number 9, wash, rinse, repeat. So this is that part where you're constantly carrying the book with you. Cross off the goals as they are achieved and continue to add new ones. Dreaming and setting concrete goals should not be a one-time event, but a continually ongoing process. The more we practice the habit of tapping into our heart's desires, the more easily we can expand the sense of possibility in our lives and aspire to greater heights. Remember, there are only 2 things, I love this, ever going on in the universe at all times: circulation and congestion. If we don't make new goals, we are telling the universe, don't send me new dreams. And that's a ouch, somebody. If we don't make new goals, what we are saying is, God, I don't want any new dreams. I don't think that's what any one of us want to say. Ooh, George says, even people that love you will kill your dreams. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. That's why you got to keep it to yourself. But listen, you got to keep adding stuff to the list. The list is not in. Age is not a reason to stop adding to the list. Age is not a reason to stop adding to the list. Sometimes, having setbacks in life. I remember going through a period in life where I was so depressed about everything that was happening that it was hard to dream. I could only think of, oh, I just want to be out from under this debt, right? So it felt frivolous to write down the extravagant things that I wanted. It felt, I don't know if the word is wrong, but it certainly felt like I shouldn't, it felt ridiculous. That's the word. And I felt ashamed to want the big things that I wanted, especially when I was in so deep of a financial hole with no end in sight. And the best thing that you can do when you're in the darkest hole is to make a list of what you want. Hear that. I want that. I want that to land too. The best thing that you can do when you're in the darkest hole that you're in is to make a list of what you truly want. Sometimes we make goals based on our limitations. So I won't dream about going to Bali because in my mind, I'm thinking about the big tax bill that hasn't been paid for 3 years. Sometimes I won't dream about the new car because I'm thinking about it's like I won't allow myself to dream big because of all these things that I have to fix. And I want to tell you there's nothing to fix for you to dream big. Just dream big. Trust God to bring you your dream in divine order. I was thinking about what you said, Andrea, when you said debt free. I'm wondering if you even need to set a goal to be debt free. What I mean by that is you have the way that, and I'm talking the South, so I'm not saying don't have a goal to be debt free. I'm talking the South. But sometimes we set goals based on our constraints. And Reverend Della would always say, you're not smarter than God. That was one of her favorite things. You're not smarter than God, right? And so I'm willing to believe that God knows how to bring me what I need and take care of the debt. I'm willing to believe that God understands that peace of mind for me includes no debt. Sometimes we won't put things down on the list because we think we put down other things that are sensible. And being realistic is the quickest way to a mediocre life. Being realistic is the quickest way to a mediocre life. I like that, Alita. Alita says, I set a goal to owe no one anything but love. Debt clear up. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Number 10, God's highest law is love. And so this is what she says, and this I'm saying, this is going to be a repeat of what I just said. She says, remember, God's highest law is love. During this process, we have been goal setting without on to our financial constraints, our physical limitations, or the current state of our lives. That is because the only thing we really have to keep in mind when setting goals is that God's highest law is love. God wants the best for us always. With this in mind, why should we worry about anything else? Our job is to learn to love God as ourselves, love God as God loves us. Only then can we truly love our neighbors. Remember, with God, all things are possible. So this is a very different kind of goal setting. But again, I'm talking to spiritual entrepreneurs. I'm talking to people who want to marry their spiritual thinking, their spiritual understanding with their material pursuits. So what if you took this into your business and set your goals this way? Here's the thing, just try it. Just see. Just see if this makes sense to you. Just work on one goal that doesn't consider whether you're in debt, doesn't consider whether you're physically capable, doesn't consider whether the current state of your life can afford for you to have that goal. Just choose one goal and work with that goal according to the process that she talks about here in this second chapter, second part 2. And just see. Because here's the thing, you can prove God. You don't have to argue for God. You can prove God. And so let's go and prove God. Let's go and prove God. We don't, this is not even an argument at all. Let's go prove God. Pick a goal that does not consider present circumstances and work on it according to this process. Visualize yourself with it. See yourself with it. Like, you know, so if I were looking at some of the things that are in my life right now, I would say, oh my God, I got Jordan, I got church, I got, you know, my relationship, I got, you know, got all these things, you know. But how about we just work on a goal and we don't consider all the other things that quote unquote are in the way of the goal? What if we took the limits off? So my favorite song, we sing that during offering time. Take the limits off. Take the limits off. I see increase all around me. Stretch forth, break forth. Enlarge my territory. Finally, reach for a sense of inner conviction. Instead of inner peace, go for the sense of inner conviction. When you work with your goals in this way, you will reach a point of inner conviction. And I love what she says. This is on page... she talks about it with having directed faith is what she talks about. Where is it? Oh, wait, where are you? Okay, I'm not finding it immediately. She says, I keep praying. I was looking for the page so I can tell you exactly. She says, I keep praying until I get that little internal click that says it's done. That inner knowing. Oh, page 84. I keep praying until I get that little internal click that says it's done. That inner knowing that the message has been sent. Now, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. When you diligently apply this goal-setting process that Reverend Edwin recommends, it will bring about that assurance for what you hope for and the conviction for the thing that you cannot now see with your natural eye. When you work this way, there will come a point where you've done the visualization, you've done all the inner changing that you can think to do or feel led to do. You will have affirmed it, you will have acted as if, doing all these steps. And what's going to happen for you is there's like this internal click. So I can describe this experience from the time that I bought my the car that I now own. And I didn't have the means. Actually, I'll use my house because it has the same thing. It was the same story. I didn't have the means. I didn't have the, I think I had the credit. I This was the year was 2002. The year was 2002, and I was living in Los Angeles. I was in the process of separating in a marriage, and someone had turned me on to Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I bought in hook, line, and sinker. I actually have the cash flow game, which is today even still one of my favorite games to play. And I remember the steps. I had done all the reading. I've been seeing myself in a house and all of that. And this is when the internal click happened for me. I was on a cruise with my mom with UTC. I don't know where we were, but we were on a cruise ship. And the bathroom had a shower nozzle that came off, like a shower arm, one of those movable shower arms. And I was able to pull it off and shower and, wash myself, or whatever, as opposed to just standing under the water and letting the water fall on me. And I remember thinking, I would really like to have one of these in my house. And it hit me. You can't, because you don't own. It would be a waste of money for you to basically switch out the shower head in an apartment. And from that moment, that was November 2002. November 2002. October 2003, I moved into the condo that I now own. And I just kept seeing myself in it. And I went and got an agent. I didn't have any money. And when I look back on it, the ridiculousness of it was just shocking. Had no money, but I would sit and I would draw pictures. And I wish I could find those pictures. Those have been lost. It's somewhere. But I would sit and draw pictures of the agent, the escrow agent, handing you the keys. I was doing everything that they had told me to do to impress my subconscious mind. I was on it. And I said, well, the mind communication pictures, fine. Let me draw a picture of me. And I had a conversation in my head that was happening between me and the escrow agent saying, here are the keys to your new home, Miss James. Kid you not. And I promise you, I had no money when I started the process. Even got down to the end of the end of the end, and you're supposed to have X amount of reserves in the account. I was like, I don't have that. I mean, this was winging a prayer type stuff, but I tell you, I'm not suggesting that you go through life with this much cluelessness. That was my own cluelessness. But my point is that don't let your circumstances dictate what you put down as a goal. God's highest law is love. And if you will begin to work for it, you'll reach this place where there's an internal click inside of you. And you will know, this is mine. So with my car, that happened over a couple of years. They had just released the car that I wanted in 1999. And first when I saw it, I was like, oh, I love this car. It was convertible, it was blue, it was just wonderful. And I went, I would go to the Mercedes dealership at night. And I would walk cars and I would look at the leather and I test drove that car, I don't know how many times, so many times. I even bought a license tag. I had gone to my sorority's convention in 1998, and I bought the license tag holder while I was there with the sorority name on it. And I was trying to get ready. I got a keychain and all kinds of stuff. And I remember driving. Actually, my route into and out of the city used to be Laurel Canyon, and so I would actually, as I was driving in my Nissan Sentra, I would actually imagine myself driving in the Mercedes because I had driven it so much, so I knew what it felt like. And so I would imagine myself driving over the hill in this, really comfortable luxury car. And I remember the day I was coming out of my office in early May, late April, early May, 2001. And the car that I had at the time was my ex's car. It was a Mazda 626. And I put the key in the door to unlock the door. And it was like just something came over me and said, "You're done with this." I didn't know what it meant, but it was just like it was like a knowing. I just said I don't know what it meant, but I mean it wasn't like something happened before then. I was just coming to the car, and when I put the key in, it was like this is it. And from that day, I felt like it was like early May, but anyway, by May 31st, I had my car. Again, same situation. Like, where's the money gonna come? I don't know. Like all the things that needed to be, all the pieces of the puzzle that needed to come together came together, and money changed hands, and the car was purchased. So you just don't have to be realistic. There's just no profit in being realistic. So that's it. That's my testimony for God. So set goals now. My question for you is, how did your opinion of goal setting change? And what element of Edwene Gaines' program can you incorporate into your current goal setting process? Like, I know for sure the thing that's different for me, and I'm already doing it, but I'm gonna go back and just use what she suggests, is asking God, how do I need to change in relation to my goals? I mean, I'm working on change every day, so I'm what you call a change specialist. but in terms of working on my goals specifically, I know that I want to get clear on. I want to take some time and get clear on that. And I already do the visualization. I'm getting bolder with the date, but now I understand why the date. Sometimes dates may come and go, and I might miss them. I'm pretty good with the spiritual secrecy. That's no problem there. So what element of Edwene's program can you incorporate into your current goal setting process? And if this webinar helped you, please subscribe and share this with a friend. Any questions? Any questions? What are you guys going to add? What are you guys going to add? How did your opinion of goal setting change? I know this helped me take the button off of goal setting. That's for sure. I really had a button on goal setting that I had a button on goal setting, and so this helped to clear that up significantly. And with just setting goals, being willing to set, like thinking of goals, setting as a spiritual process, that was new for me. Anybody else? What was new for you, or how did your opinion on goal setting change? And what elements are you going to incorporate into your current process? Don't everybody talk at once. All right. If there are no answers, I shall release you into the end of 2017. Alita says, I know I need to be more consistent as well as setting goals. Yeah. I am, part of what I do at the end of the year and why I do a break at the end of the year is because that's what I do. I actually write out a whole business plan for the next year. So that is what this time period is about, is really just to kind of sit and get clear what needs to change, what needs to get better, what needs to go, what needs to go. That's part of it too. George says, big takeaway, stop setting vague spiritual sounding goals. Amen. Amen. Joe says, first, not telling people I had a bad experience. Yeah, we all have. There's, for everybody out there, there's somebody who with a sledgehammer waiting for a dream to smash. So yes. Wonderful. Thank you guys so much. Have a beautiful Christmas. I will definitely, I will certainly email at least once. I'm sure you're on the mailing list. Email at least once during the holidays with details on how to stream the service for Reverend Della. And as we put stuff on Facebook, if you guys are Facebook friends, if you wouldn't mind helping me get the word out, because we've got a 1,200 seat arena that we need to fill, and that does not happen with one person alone. So thank you guys so much in advance for passing that. Send me a friend. I still have room on my Facebook page for friends. So definitely send me a friend request. And so when you see it, if you wouldn't mind pushing that out, so that we get a lot of people streaming and people who are in LA coming to the event. And it's at noon, December 30th. Noon, December 30th. Thank you so much. Have a blessed Christmas holiday. Merry Christmas. May the Christ be born anew in you. And I look forward to seeing you January 4th, 2018. Take care.